Hey everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. I wanted to make a video on how you can increase your bad credit score fast. All right, you can do this generally like really in 30 to 60 days by applying some of these tricks and tips that I'm about to give you in this video. Now, if you are new to my channel, I bring you content on how to improve your credit score no matter where you are in your credit journey. So if you want that type of information, please subscribe to the channel and also give this video a thumbs up. You guys be careful because there is a lot of scammers on YouTube. Somebody is using my photo. So make sure if somebody is responding to you or if they are offering you a consultation, that is not me. I am not doing consultations right now. So I'm not sending you a WhatsApp or some kind of email address. If you want to contact me, you can go directly to my website and submit your questions, and it go directly to my cell phone and I will reply. Okay, so just be careful. Make sure you click on the photo and make sure that the subscriber count matches the subscriber count that's here on the channel. Now let's jump into this video and some tricks and tips that you can use if you have bad credit. Now, you need to understand most lenders use the FICO 8 scoring model. All right. So with a FICO scoring model, bad or poor credit will be considered a 580 and below. But keep in mind, 580 to about 670 will be considered fair credit. But if you have a 620 credit score and below, you are considered to lenders as subprime. In a subprime category, means that you're a riskier investment with the bank. So you want to definitely push to get above a 680 credit score and optimally 700 and above to have good credit. Now, some of these strategies I'm going to give you, keep in mind, it depends on your starting point. So a lot of this, if you got bad credit, the positive part, the more steps that you take with bad credit, you're the recipients of a higher boost in your credit because you're starting from such a low point. So you can make some changes and your score increase quickly. But some of these strategies, when you're over a 700 credit score, you have to go about it a different way because now you're in a good credit zone. So some of these tips you might not can apply all the way across the board because this is for people with bad credit. Okay, so keep that in mind. So number one, you got to know your starting point and your credit score. So it is important for you to get a credit monitoring system because you need to know when you apply some of these steps, how is it affecting your credit? Is it reporting? Is it working for you? You got to know where you're starting at. And most importantly, people say, hey, I got to fix my credit. But what is wrong with your credit? So you need to know what's wrong with your credit. So you need a credit monitoring system like Experian, My FICO, one that use the FICO 8 will be your best bet to gauge. Not Credit Karma, not Credit Wise. Those are Vantage scores. And lenders don't use that. So you want to make sure that you know what is wrong with your credit. It's just like saying, I need to fix my house. Well, what's wrong with your house? Is it an electrical issue? Is it a plumbing issue? You need to know what is wrong with your credit. Okay, so you need to get a credit monitoring system with as close as possible of accurate information. Now, number two, what you need to do is analyze your credit. I have courses on this, on breaking this down in more detail. You need to find out what is going on with your credit house. What builds your credit house is 5 categories that you need to look at. Remember, credit is nothing but a algorithm based off your behavior. So if you don't have the knowledge on how to change your behavior to affect that credit score, nobody ultimately can really help you keep good credit but you. Nobody can pay your bills on time but you. Nobody cannot max out your credit cards but you. So you need to know this information so you can maintain good credit, okay? So number one, 35% is payment history, how you paid your bills in the past. Number two is 30% is debt to available credit. How much debt do you have reporting to available unsecured lines of credit? That means revolving credit cards or a line of revolving credit, okay? If you are a person that don't have a credit card open at all, you're going to have a lower credit score because you're going to have 0 in that category. And that makes up 30% of your credit score. So payment history, utilization, those two categories make up 65% of your credit. So if you can focus on those two categories, you can increase your credit score quickly. Now, the third part is 15% is age of credit. How old is your credit? How old is your credit lines? Then you have 10% is mix of credit. How do you manage various types of credit accounts, like an installment loan, which would be like a car loan, and credit card accounts? How you handle mortgage accounts? So they like to see a mix. Also, last but not least, 10% is hard inquiries or new inquiries. Each hard inquiry or new inquiry will cost you 3 to 5 points, okay? So you want to look at that on your credit. Take, for example, if you have 10 hard inquiries, you know at bare minimum, you lost 30 points off your credit score. And you want to try to remove some of those hard inquiries because inquiries are really easy to remove off your credit. So you want to focus on that category so you can increase your credit fast. Now, when you are looking and analyzing your credit, number one, to start off, if you got bad credit or trouble credit, you got to look at your accounts that are reporting. And I'm not talking about charge-offs, and I'm not talking about collections, not these accounts, because generally these accounts are not reporting monthly on your credit. Accounts that you currently have open, make sure those accounts are current because your score can never go up if you have an account reporting negative every month, dinging your credit score. You got to bring those accounts current for any of this stuff to work for you. And you need to have it current for 90 days before you start applying these steps, okay? Because you won't see the effectiveness of it. Also, look at your credit to make sure nothing negative have hit your credit within the last 90 days, like a new collection or a new charge-off, okay? Wait to after the 90-day period and then start applying these steps so you can see the results, okay? Now, once you do that, you make sure your accounts is current. Here are some of the steps. Number one, you want to look to see if you have collections. Collections are very common. Majority, one out of every 3 Americans have a collection reporting on the credit report. And one thing you want to do is send out a debt validation letter. That is very important because especially if that account, if you get a letter in the mail and you have a new collection that has not hit your credit report yet, if you demand a verification of that debt, that means that third-party lender is not your original creditor. They actually bought that debt from your original creditor who charged it off or wrote it off as a bad debt and sold it. They have to prove that they really purchased that debt and you really owe them that debt. There are many companies that are doing phantom debt. They just slap that debt on anybody's account, on your account, pull your information, and you don't even owe it. If you pay that account and you actually make a payment, you agree to do business with them and they can keep that on your credit report. So by sending a debt validation letter, directly to them, not to the credit bureaus, to that company reporting it, demanding that they must show that they have a legal right to collect on their debt. If you do it in that 30 days before it hits your credit report, they cannot report that on your credit until they prove that out. But even if you have it on your credit report, you can still demand debt validation. It is not too late. So you want to send them a debt validation letter. I have them at my website. And the reason why many people send out this letter, and I have a Facebook group for free that they'll put in reports and showing that by sending that debt validation letters, many of those companies can't prove it and they'll remove that off their credit report within that 30 days. So that's what you want to do. Send that letter directly to them. Now, also you want to look at your charge-offs. A charge-off is with the original creditor. This is somebody you actually owe. Now, what you want to do with those kind of accounts, you want to dispute them directly with the credit bureau. And the reason why you want to send off a dispute for those kind of accounts generally quickly, because while that account is under the dispute, they have to let anybody that you're looking for credit know that that account is under dispute. So if you're looking to move, or you're looking to buy a new vehicle, or whatever you fishing for credit, that would be notated that that is under investigation, and that company have to verify that that is correct. Okay. Now, the next step that you want to make sure you do, I actually have dispute letters also at my website. The secret sauce here, you can increase your credit score really quickly without removing one negative account. So you want to do all this stuff simultaneously. What you can do, number one, is focus on debt to available credit. That is your utilization, that category, which is 30%. If you have a credit card, you want to pay that credit card down. I'm going to suggest if you can get it down to zero, get it down to zero. If you can't pay it down to zero, you want it between 1% and 10% utilization, okay? Because people with bad credit tend to only have smaller credit card lines, okay? And it's only $300, and you can go over that 30% utilization on that card very easily. So you want to make sure at bare minimum, anytime you go over that 29% utilization, your credit score is going to drop. So what you want to do is pay those down, and you can see an increase in your score, 60, sometimes 80 points, depending how maxed out, especially if that card is maxed out. And when you start approaching 60% utilization, your score starts to really tank, even if your rest of your credit cards are paid off. There are many times you'll see your utilization is low, but because you're using one credit card and it's really close to being maxed out, it can drag down your credit score. So to be safe, try to pay all your credit cards down to zero if you have them, okay? And you can see up to an 80 point or better increase in your credit score, and that can be your issue right there. The second part, if your credit score is under a 700 credit score and you need to get your credit score increased quickly, even without removing negative items, adding positive lines of unsecured credit. That credit card, okay? That unsecured line of credit can help you in two ways. Number one, paying that or having that report monthly on time can balance out negative payments in the past. So that 35% category where you miss payments, by adding positive payments, you can balance out that negative payment history. So that's number one. Number two, anytime you add an unsecured line of credit and your credit score is under 700, you'll see soon as that card report, you can see a boost, an increase in your credit score of 49 points. Now, keep in mind, you can't have nothing negative new showing up on your credit report like missed payments, and your accounts have to be current And like I said, for 90 days for that to work for you, but adding an unsecured line of credit. So if you already have bad credit, one way you can do that is getting a subprime bank card, like a First Premier, Merit Bank, Credit One Bank, Capital One also have subprime bank cards. These are bank cards that you can have a Visa logo on, a MasterCard logo, and you can rent a car with these, but these are very small credit lines, and also they can be very expensive in annual fees. But if you're a person that really need to increase your credit score, you can get one of these cards. If you can qualify, many of them have pre-approvals. Go and see if you pre-qualify or pre-approve for this, and by adding these cards on, you can see an increase in your credit score once a report. Always remember, when you're adding these unsecured lines of credit or credit cards on, only one account at a time, you guys. Don't try to get 5 or 6 and I'm going to add all of this. You're not going to see the effectiveness. Let one report and then go on and add another, and you'll see more increase in your points. Now, the downside with this, they do have high fees. So you can use another option I'm going to present with you, using 2 other options, which are store cards. Some stores like Victoria's Secret is a great one, using the shopping cart trick, which is putting a number of items over $250 in value in the shopping cart, and many a times you'll get a pop-up, right, to say that you're pre-approved. Now, in order to do that, you need to be registered many a time to 2 or 3 websites. Well, 2 websites mainly, Factor Trust and also Opt Out Pre-Screen. I'm going to put that video where I break all of that down for these websites and why you need to register there, so you can get these pop-ups without you getting hard inquiries to see if you qualify, all right, for those cards. Now, with these store cards, it's not generally a Visa logo or MasterCard logo. It's only for merchandise in that store. But who cares? It's a line of credit. And those lines of credit don't have high annual fees like the bank cards. So you can use these as options, okay? Or you can use the third option, which is pre-approvals. I give you tons of videos on pre-approvals for credit building. Why you want these pre-approvals or pre-qualifications? What these companies are looking for are people who are in a category that they will consider. Remember, a lot of these companies have to sell their merchandise to stay in business. So they want you to do business with them. So it can be store cards, it could be a pre-approval bank card, but what they will do is say, hey, possibly you could be a person that we're looking for. Come on and apply without affecting your credit score. Now, this is initial application, okay? This is not really going through the whole process. It's a pre-qualification or pre-approval. You can get the green light and they say, hey, you look like a type of credit profile that we're looking to do business with. Now, when that happens, that does not give you a hard inquiry. If they don't pre-qualify you or pre-approve you, that doesn't affect your credit score or give you a hard inquiry. But if you decide to go through the process, it will create a hard inquiry whether you are approved for that line of credit or not. Now, because they pre-qualify you, don't mean it's guaranteed. You can still be denied for that credit, but they're more likely you're having a better shot of getting that credit line because they're looking for you. So this minimizes you creating a bunch of new hard inquiries just aimlessly applying for credit. Now, you say, hey, if I get this credit line, is it going to be a hard inquiry? Yes, it is. But like I said, you're looking at 49 or 50 points of an increase with a deduction of 3 points. The positive way outweighs the negative. You're going to get more points than you're going to lose. So you can increase your credit score quickly by using that strategy. Now, the last thing, last but not least, Attacking hard inquiries can give you points. Hard inquiries are easier to remove because hard inquiries need something when they're pulling your credit, what's called permissible purpose. They need your express permission in order to access your credit report. So what we have at our website that you can download for absolutely free, I'll leave the link in the description and the pinned comment section, is our hard inquiry removal package. You can challenge that I ever gave them permission to access my credit report. So each one of those hard inquiries that you remove can gain you 3 to 5 points. So if you can remove enough of those off of your credit report, you can see an increase in your credit score. Having too many hard inquiries, even with good credit, can get you denied for credit. I always talk about have a client that he had a 740 credit score, which is good credit, but 11 hard inquiries and could not get approved for credit. So you want to keep your hard inquiries no more than 6 hard inquiries in a 3-year period. Now, when you look at your hard inquiries, keep in mind, if you are using a My FICO, you're getting all 3 credit scores, different credit bureaus are going to have a different amount of hard inquiries. So you want to look at that. There most likely it's not consistent across the board. Like Equifax might only have 1, Experian might have 8, and TransUnion might have 9. Okay, and it can be totally different companies. So you want to look at that to see what you can remove. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, make sure you contact me at my website for any other tips and tricks. We have courses. If you want to ask me a general question, you can do it in the comments section and I will reply back as soon as possible. But if it is something detailed that you really need to know private and not really a general question, hit me at my website and all your questions go directly to my cell phone. So hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Be blessed.